Hi, and welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev. Woo,
Good morning.
Wednesday before Christmas. I had already gotten dressed and I was like, oh, I didn't like wear any red or nothing, but you know what? This sweater is nice and soft and I'm doing it. So
Nice. You look good.
thank you. And little heart earrings. I don't know if you can tell they're
Nice.
hearts.
Nice.
Yeah. So feeling cute today. Cute and soft. I'm just gonna walk around all
Um,
day feeling my sweater.
nice.
And what's happening, sis?
Well, I'm trying to pull my mind together, I guess. If we talk about all these things, and it's interesting because I'll kind of just give a play-by-play.
Well, hold on. I think that's a lifelong process anyway. So
It is. It
we have like
is.
an hour.
One of the first things I want to say is, like, last week I talked about, when someone's grieving, how to approach them and stuff, how, for me, how it felt. And I just want to say that it doesn't mean that anyone's doing anything wrong. It's just something I've recognized. And it's something for each person to recognize as well, because maybe they need that, that comfort of that, being sorry of your loss. Maybe that's what they need. But for me, it comes across when I get these uplifting cards, and they're sympathy cards still, but they're uplifting. I've gotten a few. They're so much more, because it's just so much more to life to me than I'm sorry, like that's the end. And to me, it's not the end. So I just wanted to say that it's not like anyone's done anything wrong when they have approached me. It's just something I've recognized for me, how things feel, because I feel things. And the other stuff I'm noticing is, when you're going through a grieving process, be easy on yourself, because you forget everything. Like there's things that I don't even, it's just the craziest thing. I got to work yesterday and had forgotten my purse. I had forgotten my iPad. These are essentials for me when I'm at work, for money and stuff like that. So for me to process things. So ding dong. And then this morning, it's Wednesday, and we usually get our videos going at 9 o'clock. And I woke up at 8:45. My mind never even comprehended that we had this today. So it's so weird when these things happen, it's just laugh. Only thing I can do about it is laugh.
Yeah.
That's it. I walked into the Superior Court last week to pick up some paperwork for somebody, and walked in with my freaking handgun in my purse. Wow. And I'm telling you, you can get in super, super trouble for that. And I walked in there like, ma'am, you've got a handgun in your purse. I was like, oh shit. And I grabbed you take it outside. So I took it outside and I came back inside. But again, during this process for me, I come back inside and I walked through and they're like, do you have something in your pocket? I'm like, oh yeah, I've got my keys and my phone, which should have been dropped it, but my mind is not working. They're like, what's going on with you? Or they're like, then they questioned me. And I'm not in a place to be questioned. And he says to me, why would you bring a gun into the court? I said, I wasn't even thinking. I said, I just lost my husband, a couple weeks ago, and I just give me my stuff, I'm leaving. Because I just couldn't, because I didn't have anything more to give. It's not because I was being mean or anything. I just didn't have any more, and I was about to lose, like I was about to start crying in there. And it's like, be easy on yourself, because it's like when you go through this stuff, you're going through a lot. And it's like, I think that I've got my shit together and I think I'm doing great. And I do stupid. I mean, I would call it stupid, but I do things like that. It's like, it's not even like, where was my mind at? I know that you don't take a gun into the court, especially that court of all places. And it's like, I mean, in other places, you could get in super trouble for stuff like that. So it's like, but it's just, I couldn't do anything more than what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. So it's like, I'm just taking things moment by moment. And when these little crazy things happen, it's like, where were you? It's like,
Right.
it's all right.
So I want to ask, is this giving you, I recognize like your mind is probably gonna, let's say, absent-minded
Yeah.
more in this time of grieving. Is it bringing more awareness to you to practice be even more in the present moment? Like, what time is it? What day is it? Where am I? Where, you know what I mean? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does. But for me, my practice is, how am I feeling right now? Like I'm
Okay.
really starting to really pay attention to, how am I feeling right now? How do I feel about doing massage? Do I want to continue doing massage? How do I feel about, like, with his passing, it's made me question absolutely everything.
Yep.
Everything. It's like it's making me slow down enough where I'm paying attention. Like, how do I feel about that? Am I feeling obligated because I want to help other people? Am I doing it for the right reasons still? You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that I'm asking myself, because I feel, only comment I could say is, like, the rug gets pulled out from under you. So you start, like, evaluating. I told one of my daughters, it's just as if we're, like, starting over brand new. We're like new babies. This process is sent us into another growth, and it's foreign, and it's change, right? It's kind of scary sometimes, and it's frustrating, and all these emotions, the anger, and still, like, there'll be sometimes it catches me off guard, and I might cry about it or whatever, and which is fine. Before I was, like, totally against all that stuff. But no, really answering your question, I just feel like I'm really checking more in with myself. I'm really paying attention more to, how do I feel. I'm asking myself more questions, not asking questions for things. I'm asking myself questions like, what do you want? And then I'm really asking God and the angels. For me, God, the creator of all that is, the universal I am, however you want to refer to it, to that energy. That's I'm asking for help, and I'm recognizing the help. I mean, I'm getting it in so many ways. I feel so much more powerful and stronger. And then other times, then I'm a freaking ball of mush, crying or emotional about something. So it's
Yeah.
just
And
it's just
I mean,
recognizing.
for sure the first year of that's going to be, you're going to get triggered for
Um,
birthdays and celebrations and gatherings and even barbecues, right? Because that person's not there and in physical form. Let's just
Physical.
be clear in
Yeah.
that physical form, even though we know we teach and I'm going to say, if I'm incorrect, you can tell me, that you still feel like they're still there in spirit, like they are still with us in spirit and their presence. So again, going back to spirit is energy. We're all energy. Everything around us is energy, and their energy is still with us. That is what we resonate with, is the energy of that person, even if they're not here in physical form. And for sure you're going to have those moments. It might be in the middle of the grocery store, it might be while you're driving, right? You just
Oh
and
yeah.
you
No, everywhere.
and for sure we're human, we got to have these emotions, we have to know what this feels like, and that's part of our learning. And just, yeah, have ease and grace with yourself, that you're having in the middle of a conversation, some random conversation, you feel like crying, freaking
Yeah.
cry. You know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
People have to be in a mindset now, by now, especially with this year. I'm just saying, especially with 2020. Like, there's been a lot of loss, physical loss,
Hmm.
in different ways, and people are emotional right now. I mean, it's inevitable. We're emotional beings. And so allowing yourself that space, and if the person you're talking to or sitting next to in traffic, you start crying, allow yourself that space to cry. Don't feel bad, don't feel embarrassed, or that is a vulnerable state. Vulnerability has become the new strength. I just posted that yesterday. I think vulnerability has become the new strength. If you can, just open yourself up and say, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I'm showing up in this moment, you're either gonna have compassion for me and love me and hug me, or you're gonna turn and go the other way. Either, whatever choice you make, that's your choice, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm gonna have a meltdown, and you can
Yeah.
stay with me or move on, right?
Yeah.
Or judge me, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Just be, and sometimes it helps to just be yourself, because that helps other people. It's almost like we feel like we need permission to do things.
Yeah.
So if she's crying, maybe it's all right for me to cry. And through this process, it's like, don't stuff it. Do not stuff it. I
Mm-mm.
won't stuff it. If I'm having that bad of a day and I feel like I can't handle my appointments for that day, I'm canceling my appointments. I'm going to honor how I feel. I'm not going to stuff my feelings. I've done that for most of my life, and I'm not doing, that's not me anymore. It almost empowers you to be able to step into the side and not care what other people think. But you're not caring gives permission to other people that have been stuffing it, gives permission to other people that don't know how to deal with these emotions, maybe a way to be all right with themselves dealing with these emotions this way. It's some days it's pretty freaking rough. I mean, that's what I will tell you. But it's kind of crazy because it makes me ask questions like, so an example. Randomly, I won't be thinking of anything, and all of a sudden I'll remember a vacation that Jim and I had gone on to or whatever. And it's like, then I start questioning things. Is he going through like a life process? So my mind, if we do this, if he's going through like a life process, is this where he's at right this moment? Like, is he seeing that right that moment, that's why it's popping in my head? Because I remember listening, but this is what's coming forward. I remember listening to Esther Hicks and Abraham, right? And her talking about Jerry, because her husband had transitioned by that time. And Jerry tells her, while he's in spirit, so he's energy, tells her, what makes you think that I wasn't the one that thought about you first?
Right.
So it gave me goosebumps just now.
I just got goosebumps too. I'm like, oh.
I just got my freaking answer just like that.
Just like
but
that.
It's crazy. So it's crazy. So that doesn't, man, so that makes me feel like honor that when it feels that great, because it was good memories.
Yeah, for sure.
Honor it. Feel it. It's all right. That means that person's thinking about you, and that's such a joyous place.
Right.
Those are good memories.
And it's I know you're making me tear up. You can't make me tear up. I'm just feeling emotional right now. That, you know, I think what happens a lot of times though is that people, so let's process this. Your loved ones transition, so they're in spirit. Their energy is visiting a memory, and so then, because you're part of that, right, it comes into your being. Here's what happens, I think a lot of times, those people have that memory and they go immediately more into sadness.
Yes.
Instead of, wow, that was such an amazing time, we had so much fun and it was so exhilarating, exciting. But adding the piece, because now we're bringing it forward, we're not the first ones to bring this forward, but maybe to our listeners, is to recognize that your loved one in spirit in that moment was having that memory or visiting that memory, and you're getting to be a part of it in that moment. So it would be, instead of dropping into the sadness, because that's dropping your vibration, put a smile on your face, maybe put your hand on your heart and be in that space. Maybe the tears are going to flow for sure. No doubt. I mean, we just experienced it with Bev, but be in the joy of it, and let those tears be tears of joy for having the experience, instead of tears of sadness and going into depression because they're not here.
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to recognize the difference.
And you have to notice how you feel. And for me, the memories are coming across as happy, joyful memories when they hit me like that. So it's like, in that moment, I have a choice. Yep. I do. I can either be like, oh my God, I'm never going to experience that with him again. But my other side of me is, I got to experience it with him.
But the fact is, you are experiencing it again, because he's bringing forth that memory to help you remember.
Yeah.
So you're still, is it going to be new experiences from this point forward? No, right? Not in the physical form. But as long as his energy brings forth those memories for you, you get to be in those memories with him. And it could be things like you haven't thought about in years.
Oh, no, that's exactly what's happening. Like, it's so crazy. It's just crazy. And that's why, I mean, I've got my answer now. I know, because it's him processing, it's him looking at things. Yeah. And maybe he's specifically looking at to uplift me, because he knows how I am. You know, he knows how my heart is. Now, something else that happened last night, we were watching a movie, and I was watching a movie, and I all of a sudden I saw him again, how I found him, because I'm the one that found him after he left his physical body. Mm-hmm. And I saw that, and I was like, oh no, because I was recognizing that's my mind. That's my, what people would call your monkey mind. Another person I've been following, she calls it like being trapped in your asylum. My monkey mind was starting to process that, and it's like, no, because that's not how Jim is to be remembered.
Right.
That was his physical body. His physical body, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to his energy, because he was so much bigger than that. We're so much bigger than our bodies. Our energy is so much bigger, and we just happen to get kind of stuck in wanting to see things the same way that we've always seen them. And it's like, you know, I know he's coming to me. I have my own ways. I did a card reading for myself the other day from the, oh my gosh, oh, Talking to Heaven. I think it's a Doreen Virtue book, or I'll have to look at it to make sure before I quote too much. But it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's like I felt his presence so much before I even did the reading that I was compelled to do the reading, and I got such an amazing message from him that it was like, wow. But it's things that I already knew. It just reiterated to me how he felt, how he feels. But I've been saying it, we continue to grow with our loved ones, even though they left their physical body. We continue.
Absolutely.
They're with us all the time. We can be selfish about it. You want to bring them around you more often, but it's like, for me, it's not being in a space of depression, because they'll come forward, I believe, for you, but you just don't recognize it because you're not in a space of joy. In a space of joy, or these remembering all these wonderful things, they're when they pop up like that, it's elation. And now I'm even more excited because now I know that he's doing this. I know that he is.
And isn't it funny? That's not funny, but it's amazing. It's wonderful. I got to find the right word. It's wonderful that when he was in the physical body, you were attempting to guide him in learning about being on this planet, spirit in body, having a human experience. And then now he has transitioned before you, and now he's guiding you.
Yeah.
Because he has a greater I am.
Yeah, and he recognizes
understanding.
that now.
Let me clarify that. Greater I am understanding, because he's back in spirit. So now he can help guide you in being even stronger in your beliefs or practices while you're still in physical body. And I just saying out loud, I feel like his spirit knew you had more work to do. And so now he's helping guide you in propelling yourself into whatever role you're supposed to take from this point forward.
Yes.
Or whether it's yourself or other people.
Yes. Which is even what he was admitting, like for the last 7 years. I don't know. I think it was right after the kids graduated, and they started all moving out. He kept saying that he didn't know why he was still here, because that he had. I mean, I know why, because it just came to my mind, but he didn't, like, he felt like his job was done. He felt like he got me where he could get me, but he's like, I just feel like there's more that I can do for you. So crazy. Like when you look at all this stuff and process it after the person's gone, it's like all these messages were there the whole time. There was action happening the whole time. I just wasn't aware of it. And for him, so of course he's on the other side guiding me, because he knew that he had more work to do, but it wasn't here. It wasn't from the physical. It was absolutely not from the physical, but I will tell you that he was to be here to see his grandchildren. He was to be here to play with them. He was to be here to enrich his experience here. And it was, because it was something he never wanted children. So he came into my world, and I had my daughters that he's been a father to them since they were babies. So,
and he's still playing with the grandkids.
And he's still playing with the grandkids. Like, it's just a wonderful thing. It's there. I'm not saying that I don't have my sad moments, and I'm not saying I don't have my anger moments, but I appreciate what I can see. And that's what a conversation I was having last night. We can look at everything around us and be so devastated, but the higher we get, the higher that when I say higher, that when we can see a situation from a higher perspective, and that once we start seeing that perspective, we start noticing that in all aspects of our life, everything. We start getting into that higher perspective, and we start recognizing that person's not behaving that way towards me or because of me, or even if they're reacting to you, it's not because of you. We start seeing things even a bigger picture, and recognizing, just like Jim, all along, he was kind of planting seeds for me, if you think about it. that he wasn't going to be here forever. He wasn't, that he couldn't be here. And I kept kind of, what are you talking about? You know, that's not something I wanted to talk about. I mean, I've had loved ones. Well, we need to talk about my funeral and let's talk about this. You're not dead. We're not talking about that shit. So it's like, there's a lot of stuff that I would be just push away from me.
Yeah.
But now I'm seeing things from a bigger picture.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that the conversations that Jim was having, like he wants to go be spread over Tahoe. You know, there was certain things that I remember because he freaking told me a million times to make sure he planted that seed in my mind. But he was planting seeds all along that he was going to be assisting me. It's almost like he was telling me while he was here that he was my guide. He was my guide in so many ways until I no longer needed that guide.
Yep. And we all play our roles really well in the physical body, for sure.
Yeah.
So
and what do you want to learn
teachers.
from it? Yeah. What do you want to learn? How do you want to move forward from it? Because it's like it can go either way.
Right.
I can be a hateful, angry, lonely person, or I can be a loving, caring person that's learned so much that I want to be that person. I want to be that person that learns so much so that I can process things that maybe someone else that's going through something, that it'll be able to give them a little bit of light and recognize that it's all right. Right now it's going to feel shitty, but eventually it's going to feel really good, and keep asking for that help. And when I ask for the help, it's in my head. Sometimes I say it out loud, but I'm by myself. So it's like, I'm not afraid to ask for help. This whole journey process stuff. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Oh man.
It's so much fun, but it does get easier. It does.
Yeah. And I just want to hit up on, because I mean, Christmas, a couple days, and I have found it's been, I would probably say actually since my grand passed, that when Christmas comes around, I'm not interested in the gifts. Honestly, I'm not even interested in going buying gifts, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Here's my thought. Okay, so I just got to go on this for just a second. You can give me your input if you want to. I'm going to go spend $100 on something that I think you're going to like, right? And I give it to you. And then you're going to go spend $100 on something you think I might like, and you're going to give it to me. So we both spent $100. And let's just say I give you something, I think you're going to like it, and you get it, and you're just like, I don't know why she got this for me. I don't know what to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we both equal. It doesn't matter if it's an equal amount or not. You could have spent 50 on me. It doesn't matter. But we're both out buying things, and I guess contributing to the economy of the world and all that. I get all that. To me, what is more important is our quality of time together. If we're going to sit and have a conversation about the weather, I'm out. I'm like, my mind's checked out. If we want to sit and have conversations like this and get into deeper meanings about life and what we've learned and where we're going, where, you know, our intentions of what we intend to do for the rest of this journey, I'm in there. I'm in that conversation. I can sit in that conversation for days. So it's the quality of time. That quality of time might be baking cookies with your grandkids, or playing on the floor with your grandkids, or you know, having those wonderful conversations with your family. That to me is what the holidays is about. From Thanksgiving to Christmas, that's what I look forward to. I'm like, oh, I got to see family, or I got to see my friends, or we're gonna, you know, yay! I'm not even focused on gifts.
Oh no.
I just so you know, I mean, part of it is we intended to go to Phoenix for Christmas, and just recently found out that's not happening. So Sunday I put up Christmas decorations. It's Wednesday, Friday's Christmas. I mean, it was like, oh, maybe I should have some festivities going on in our house. At least a little. But my point is that especially the older I get, but for sure once the passing of my grandmother, was quality of time with people is so important to me.
It is.
And
And I agree.
I heard a speaker. I had already realized this within myself, but I actually heard a teacher say, when somebody starts talking about the weather, the conversation's over. And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had. We're having a good conversation, and then it's like, oh, well, you know, it's so windy outside, or it's so cold outside, or so hot outside. I'm just like, okay, I've checked out. This conversation needs to end.
Yeah,
So
it's
think
true.
about that. When you're having I'm just talking to the audience that when you are with people, have valuable quality conversations. Be vulnerable. How are you feeling? Share that, because they might be going something you're going through or have gone through. Or maybe that's the person to help you or guide you to the next person who can help you, right? I think being more in our vulnerability is so important, because that's how we get our help.
Yeah.
Just by
And then like,
expressing, this is how I feel, and the
yeah,
other person will go, oh my gosh, I have a friend who just went through that, and they went and saw this therapist or this coach or whoever, and they feel that they're doing so much better just by saying something.
yeah. And then talking out loud about it really does help. It really does help. Whether it's with people or not with people, it does help. It just the whole momentum of those feelings change just by having that conversation. And I agree. I've always felt the same way about Christmas. I mean, I have felt that way for a long time, probably since the kids grew out of the house, because then it was like the
Oh
excitement
yeah.
changed. But now that I've got grandbabies, it's about buying them gifts, which is so simple, and then seeing how much they light up and how happy they are. I mean, it's awesome, especially when they open up your present and don't want to play with anything else because they just saw yours. No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah, yeah.
But the
When
fun
really
stuff.
for kids, you can just get a box, put some crayons in it, wrap it. When they open it, they're coloring all over everything, right? That's for
Exactly,
sure.
exactly. That's a simple thing. It really is. But it's recognizing this year it feels different. So for me, I don't know what I'm going through. I mean, I know I'm going through stuff, but it's like it's even affected my appetite. I don't want any food, any of the foods that I would normally eat. I don't eat. I'm eating croissant sandwiches, probably like 4 of those a day. I'll have a couple for breakfast and a couple for dinner, and I'll have a smoothie somewhere in the mix of that stuff, and I might have a snack or whatever. But I'm not eating what I would normally eat, and that's just I'm craving it with Doritos, which I wouldn't allow myself to eat Doritos in forever. And now it's like, I don't know if it feels kind of like a comfort food for some reason. Maybe it takes me back to childhood or something. I'm not sure. That's probably what it is, because I'm getting goosebumps from that too. But it helped. That's helping me right now. And then like this with the Christmas coming up, I don't want to have what we would normally have for Christmas. We would normally have turkey and ham and green bean casserole and mashed potatoes, all these things and the pies and all that stuff. I don't want to have it. And I think maybe it's because I don't want it. It's because this is not the same. This Christmas is not the same. And I'm going to honor how I feel, because it's so easy to sit back and say, oh, I don't want to have that. I want to have lasagna or tamales or whatever. And then, but then what about everybody else? I have to say sometimes you got to put yourself first. If you got that feeling, then everyone else is probably going to appreciate the change in the meal as well. It's a different time frame right now. And it has been for many of us this whole year. It's been a different year. And it's freaking gone by fast. Thank God, ripping that Band-Aid off is what it feels like.
Right.
But it has gone by fast. But there's been good things that have come out of this year too. So it's like it's our choice to how we want to perceive things, or what we want to remember. But honor yourself. If you feel like doing something different this Christmas, do something different.
Yep.
Do whatever makes you feel good. If you had a fleeting thought, or what you thought was a fleeting thought, which probably wasn't, it was probably your inner being, your higher self, your infinity self, however you want to refer to that, letting you know, hey, we could do something different. Because it's all right. It's change. It's just
Mm-hmm.
honoring it's just a different way.
And even just presenting the idea, I mean, having a conversation about it.
Oh
Again,
yes.
listen, like, girls, this is how I'm feeling about our dinner this year for Christmas. And I really have this feeling of wanting to change it up. and maybe explain why. I mean, you don't always have to explain yourself. It's just, and like you said, they might be feeling the same thing.
Which we did. We had this, everything that you're saying is what we did.
Yeah, okay.
I felt like, you know what, I just want lasagna this year. I really want lasagna. I haven't had it in forever. And it's like, so I presented it to the girls and said, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, no, that's great. Mom, we don't even have to have anything. Our kids,
We're having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Doritos.
Yeah. Well, as long as the kids have snacks, they don't really care what we're having. They don't really care. So I'll make sure to have snacks and stuff too at the side, but it is. And we did talk about it. This year has been, and I keep telling people, it's been about boundaries because I've been learning boundaries. It's been about communication, and it has been. Jim and I got so much closer in so many ways, and then he was able in turn to get closer with his kids and his grandkids and his sister, and I think he had some good conversations with his parents and stuff too. But it's like, because he was tying up all these loose ends, doing all this stuff. But it's been an awesome thing because it's communication. It's really what it boiled down to, is a lot of communication and setting boundaries with family. For me, it's been boundaries with family and some other people too, but it's been mostly with family. And it's recognizing, just not, when you don't feel good, don't fricking do it. Unless you can get yourself, and that was something I always heard Esther Hicks say with Abraham when she was channeling Abraham. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it unless you can get yourself into a place where you can feel good about the decision, that it was your decision, that you kind of twisted. She didn't say twist, but it's almost like you twist it around to where you feel good about the whole thing, and then go do it. But if you can't get yourself in a good place to go do it, if getting together with family is abusive and miserable, don't freaking do it. Honor yourself. I love you guys, but I gotta love me more right now. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't feel that there's anything wrong with that. You're just honoring how you feel. And we have grown up, and we've talked about this before, but we have grown up doing things for others, trying to please the parents or the teachers or whoever was in your life, trying to get that recognition for the good stuff that you do. Because we were always pointed out before, if you did something wrong, you need to go sit in the corner and think about what you did, or go sit in your room. You're grounded for a month so you can think about what you did wrong, and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's like, it's just, we're in a different time space reality right now. We are. And it's an opportunity. We can all grow from it and change things, or we can just stay the same, which doesn't sound fun. Because I'm personally happy that I learned how to walk. I'm personally happy that I can use the big girl potty or the big boy potty in there instead of having to be wearing my diapers. I'm happy for that. Thank you, change.
Thank you, change. And change is inevitable.
It is.
Inevitable. I had a thought and then I lost it. So if you want to keep talking, it's all good.
Yeah, some days I can keep going and going and going. I mean, just the only thing I say, just honor the processes, because all of it is a process, all of it. And to be quite honest with you, we talked about the mind and stuff and how mine hasn't been that present. Oh. I forgot all about Christmas. Christmas was the last thing on my freaking mind. We just had Thanksgiving, because Jim passed on the 28th, so a couple days after Thanksgiving.
Right.
In a lot of ways, I had to move past that time frame. What the hell do you mean? It's Christmas in a couple of days. What the hell? Like, seriously, that was like blindsided me. And it's like the kids are like, so Mom, are we getting together Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? I was like, I don't know. What do you want to do?
What day is it?
It's like, and I wasn't, and I hadn't worked for 3 weeks. So it's like, and that's not the reason why I think that during all this stuff, why my mind's been absent, but it's just, I just think that when you go through a grieving or a loss of something or a big change like that, it kind of, you're not operating on autopilot like you were before. It's a different type of autopilot. Yeah. After my brother had passed, and this is crazy, and that's why I say, we don't know what someone else is going through. Because I've been that person, like, what the hell? What were you doing, you jackwagon? You're driving on the wrong side of the road or whatever. Right after my brother had passed, which I thought I was fine. I was driving down the road and I almost hit a person on a four-wheeler. And it's like, he's got his hands up in the air and like looking at me, and it's like, I'm sorry, man. I don't know how I didn't see you, because like I didn't see him, and then all of a sudden he was there. So it's like, be aware of people when they're driving too. Not that it's an excuse or anything like that, but be aware, because when sometimes we're just going through stuff, and
Yeah.
it's not just our automatic reaction is to be angry at that person. Well, because I probably scared the hell out of the guy. I'm in a truck, a 4-wheel drive, lifted truck, and he's in on a little motorcycle, a little 4-wheeler. So it's like, just be aware. So for me, I've learned to, try to pay attention to how, I don't know why that person's speeding. I don't know why that person's on my butt right now, but I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way, because maybe he's rushing home to get to his family. Maybe he's rushing home because his daughter just called and she's devastated. Something bad happened to her. There's a million different things that could possibly happen. Someone could be in the hospital and they're taking their last breath or whatever.
Yep.
There's so many different things, and it's to just step aside. I feel like a lot of us, because I did, we become defensive. Oh, I ain't moving. He's riding my ass, and just
Hey,
different
slow
stuff. But it's
down.
like, exactly, yeah, because I've done it. But to remember that I don't, the bigger picture,
Yeah.
seeing things from a higher perspective. There is a
Yep.
potential that other things are going on right now.
For
So,
sure.
yeah,
And just thinking about that, I'm in that space too. If somebody's on my butt, I'm like, if I can get out of their way, I will. Otherwise, I'm just like, go around me. And as they pass and go on their merry way, I just say a prayer for them. I'm like, I hope wherever you're going in such a hurry you know, it works out for you or whatever. I just say a prayer for them.
yep. That's awesome.
So this year for me has been huge in incorporating prayer.
Oh yes,
Like I use it every day for so many different reasons.
yes,
And I just encourage people to do that too, because it's asking the universe for help and guidance, support, and allowing, the universe to uh, correlate what those needs that you're asking for. So prayer is very powerful. We've also have found, especially, I mean, so much has come forward this year that being in that space of prayer and multiple people focused on the same topic, same person, same healing, whatever it might be, like miracles have happened. And so, if there's somebody, if you need prayer, somebody who needs prayer, I mean, it's just been so, to me, that's almost been like a number one post on Facebook this year. People just ask, hey, pray for this person, pray for that person, pray for me, is all this. So yeah, again, that's another way of being vulnerable. Just ask. The people don't need to know the story, they don't need the details. Just say, hey, I'm going through some stuff right now, I need a prayer, so please pray for me. And so, I mean, as simple as that.
yeah.
It's
I've even
nobody's
had people.
business. It's
Yeah.
nobody's business. Even when they put in
Mhm.
the comments, hey, what are you going through? Zip it, because we
Yeah.
don't want to give the attention and energy to that, to the problem. We want to give attention and energy to the solution, the miracle,
Yes.
the moving forward.
Which has even been my own same things. What can I do for you? People keep saying, what can I do for you? I just send happy thoughts, send loving thoughts, send
Yep.
prayers. Those things do so much more than people recognize. They're so powerful. Just like you're talking about the healing. When we start loving, and it's maybe we don't recognize that it's love, but when you're like sending prayers and stuff, and you're sending all these good thoughts, and you're wanting to uplift that person or see that person as a healed person, that's love. It's so many different forms of love, and it's like love is freaking amazing. It can do many things. It can do everything. I really do believe that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like how much do you want to go into it, and how much time do you want to spend in it? Personally, I would rather spend all my time in it. And it keeps us connected to everything. It does. And in fear and love can't be in the same room. They just can't. You can only feel love fear and anger, or love and anger, can't be in the same room. You can only feel love. And I feel that love is a much more powerful thing than any of those other things, than any of them, than
And fear,
anger, the
fear,
sadness, the grief.
yeah, fear contributes to the problem. Love contributes to the solution. So you got to decide which space do you want to be in.
Which brings me to my next thing. So one of the dreams that I had this morning when I woke up, because I've been having weird stuff, but I've been asking for it too. I've been asking for signs. I've been asking for whatever. I was getting ready to walk out with my daughter to go somewhere, and I looked down and there's like a shackle on my, I mean, I can see like a handcuff around my right ankle, and my ankles were swollen and like fluid hanging up on top of this thing. And I'm like, well, I got to go lay down, Brienne. I'm going to go lay down in the house and relax for a little bit and put my feet up. So, you know, basically that I couldn't go. I don't, the feeling in the dream, I don't remember feeling bad, but it's like processing it after I woke up. It's like, how am I shackling myself? You know, somehow I feel like I'm holding myself back still, because it can't be someone else doing it. It's something that I'm doing. I'm stopping myself from. So I'm trying to process that too. And then and here leads me to the next thing. Before that, earlier, every time when I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll either go into prayer or I'll go into meditation. And sometimes I have to start like relaxing my feet. I'm relaxing, you know, just to get myself to relax completely before I start, when I get all the way up to my head, to get to this peaceful place where I'm not thinking. So I'll get to that point. Well, then I recognize that where I'm at right now, I'm out on like 40 acres, but I started seeing two things walking across, you know, the desert on this paved area. And I know where it's at. It's familiar. And it's like immediately I caught myself. I pulled back. As soon as I saw it, I pulled back immediately. And then it was like, aha, I don't want to be afraid of that stuff. So maybe that's how I'm shackling myself, but with some sort of a fear. And it's got to be like an old fear or something, because I don't even recall. Like, it was like, it's all right. I'm telling myself, it's all right to see things. It's all right to see the spirits around. It's all right to see everything around you. So just some stuff from last night. This is where things have been
Did you
going.
look up swelling? Did you look that up in the books?
You know, I didn't. I haven't looked it up yet.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
And I understand the shackle, and it was on my right ankle too. The shackle or the cuff was around my right ankle.
Well, I want to just process this, because I want people to, you know, correlate the physical manifestations, whether in a dream or in actual reality,
Yeah.
and understand how the body shows up as a symbol, symbolically, yes, for us through the what we might call physical issues. I don't call them physical issues, they're messages.
They are messages.
And yeah, so give me just a second. I'm just, so you know, I'm looking up in The Secret Language of Your Body by Ines Segal. Okay, so
love this book. Yes.
So swelling is so just now for Bev, we're correlating it with the dream and those symbols in the dream. So if you're experiencing this now in your actual reality of your body, this is what swelling means from an emotional standpoint. Carrying negative beliefs and feelings that fester in your body and block your health and success. Suppressing old grief and pain, allowing it to grow until your body swells. Carrying frozen tears that need to melt and come out. I know success is one of those things, so for you.
Yeah, I actually wrote it down. Because as soon as you said that, and then I also was getting ready to write down basically like suppressed tears, you know, which would make sense because I didn't grieve a lot for my mom, not outwardly, because I actually had a family member that's like, no matter, every time I would start to grieve about it, it's like, oh, but this is so much worse for me. You don't even understand. So it's like that would shut me off every time. And I'm not saying that to ridicule the person, because that person doesn't understand probably what they're doing. But I'm saying it because because recognize when you're with someone like that, sometimes we have a thing, like we get into a comparison thing, and it's not about a comparison, it's about each of you having a grief. Each of you have experienced a loss, and it's all right. It's not that one is worse than the other or better than the other or whatever. Allow each person to grieve. And that's been a hard thing. So, and that's so right-sided, that goes back to masculine.
Yeah, and I was
That
just
was
looking up right ankle.
Yeah, and that was where most of the swelling was at, was mostly that right ankle, like, because it was up. I mean, it was like my tissues were sitting on top of this shackle on my leg.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was an interesting thing. I mean, it was just an interesting thing.
So here's what right ankle is, emotionally attachments. Being challenged by a male authority figure, following in your father's footsteps, giving
Ugh.
away your power or ideas to another person, such as a lover, supervisor, or father figure, having too many responsibilities, trying to please others first, inability to say no or to stand up for yourself. So just for the audience, if you draw a line, or when you draw a line down the center of your body, your right side is masculine energy and your left side is feminine energy. We all have it. Everybody has that. So did any of that resonate?
The first, talking about the father, and really what came forward is trying to please others. And I've actually caught myself in that a few times, which is making me question whether I want to continue doing what I'm doing. But I love my people that I see, and it's given me goosebumps. But that, I think, has been almost where I keep saying that I love myself more, but it's because I'm going through this process to learn to love myself more. That's my experience right now. And it's like, it's not that I don't love my massage. It's not that I haven't enjoyed doing what I do. I love helping people, but I'm almost feeling like I'm doing some of the stuff to please others and putting myself on the back burner still.
And it's about, and I'm getting better and better at this, and this has definitely been a practice.
Okay.
Is I tell people I will empower you. I'll tell you how to do it. I'll show you the steps. I'll give you guidelines. I'll tell you the books to read. I'm empowering you with your healing. I'm empowering you with taking responsibility for yourself. I cannot do this for you.
Yeah.
And that, as a teacher, in the beginning was really difficult because I'm a fixer. I'm an empath. I want people to feel better, to feel good, to experience better things, to have an enjoyable life, to live in joy and love and all that. So it's like, when they weren't implementing what I was teaching them, then I would get all become a mess, because I'm like, why aren't they doing this? And if they would just do this, they would feel better, but they're not doing it, right? And I just have this battle, and it took me a while. And in my own healing process, with being a fixer, is here's the information. So here I'm handing you, Bev, the information, just like reading from the book. I asked her, did you look it up yet? She hadn't had time. She got up late.
It's true. It's true. And
but
I love this book.
So I'm saying, here, Bev, here's the information. What you do with it's your business. I've done my part, and I got to turn and if there's any more guidance that you want or desire, you're going to reach out to me and ask me. I am not going to keep meddling and saying, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? It's not my business. And your healing journey is your healing journey, and however long it takes you, whether it's in this lifetime or the next 3, 4, 10 lifetimes, it's your journey.
Yeah.
I can empower you. I can walk alongside you. I can guide you, but I can't do it for you. Right?
Yeah.
So this is when you say, I'm doing things to please others and doing it for them. It's stepping into how can I empower them now?
Yeah.
I've been doing this long enough. How can I empower them with their own healing? And what they do
And
with
it's
it's their
right.
business.
Yeah. And it goes back to me even paying attention to how do I feel? I mean, it's a crazy thing. It's a crazy concept for anybody, really. When we, it's something so simple. How do I feel? And like just stopping for a second, because there's been a few things that has come forward for me, and it's like I ask myself how I feel. I mean, I'm recognizing I'm dragging my feet to do something or whatever. It's like it's recognizing all those little signs that you do. It's paying attention to yourself enough. It's like you said, you wanted to get to, last time we talked. You want to get to know yourself. You know, you want to know everything about you, because mostly we don't know anything about ourselves. We don't even tune into ourselves a lot of times. So this is helping me to tune into myself and really ask what I want, but also recognizing fear. Fear is one of the things that keep us from moving forward, because it's change and we don't know what's there. And that's, we've talked about that before too, how we can stay in bad relationships or an abusive relationship with family members or coworkers or whatever. We can stay in these places because we know what we're going to get out of it. And it's sometimes scary, and this is what I'm going through. So like a lot of times when I say it, when I talk about things, and I might seem like I'm coming up like I got it all my shit together, I assure you I am learning to get my shit together. It is a process on a daily basis. I am not perfect by any means. And I am,
Never
I
will
mean,
be.
yeah, no,
We
no.
gotta just even drop the expectation. Never will be.
no, and it's too much you put so much pressure on yourself to live up to a certain standard. Why? So it's like I'm recognizing, and I think a lot of myself is I'm afraid to walk away from these things because I know that there's, you know, I'm helping people. There's a guaranteed income. You know, I've got a nice space, and it's like not wanting to walk. Do I really want to do that? And it's like initially it was like, oh yeah, it felt good, right? And this is you guys, you as well are all helping me to figure this out, because as I'm talking about this out loud, I'm realizing that this is probably that's where my excitement was. My excitement was for, you know, this chapter is about to close and I'm about to go into a new chapter, and I'm getting goosebumps, and it's scary, and that's all right. It makes me almost want to freaking cry. So I know I hit an emotional trigger here too, right in front of your faces.
You turn the
Um,
page, new chapter.
and recognizing why you're not. The reason I was not is because I'm afraid. And I can blame it. I can put the blame that because I help others, but I can still help others. Nothing stops that. And that's me. That's a choice for me to look at how I want to look at these things, that I can still be beneficial for people. I can still be helpful. This isn't how I'm going to be rated or graded, or, you know, I might let some people down by making this decision, but at the same time, I'm still here for people. We're here right now talking and having conversations to give out our experiences that we're going through right now and how we see it. And maybe you see it a little bit differently, and I would love to hear about that. Maybe you have a different perspective. Believe me, we all could use a fresh perspective on things, especially when it comes to being enlightening and loving and empowering. That's important. That's important.
So I want to hit up on it was recently I heard you know, I love you, but I love myself more.
Yes.
And if I'm recognizing within myself that I'm showing up to do something to make that I think is making you feel better, then I'm doing it to show up as a people pleaser or a fixer. And
Yes.
I have to love you enough. I got to love myself more, but I have to love you enough to let you go on your journey because I can't
Exactly.
fix it.
That's
And
right.
what comes up in my mind immediately, which is a good example, is people who enable uh, people with an addiction, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever, right? We enable them. Oh, here's some more money so you can go get food. When we know they're not going to get food, they're going to go buy more drugs or whatever it might be, right? They're going to get their fix somehow. And it's got to be, I love myself enough. I love myself more that I have to take care of me. And by contributing to my enabling you, I'm not loving you enough to let you have your journey.
Exactly.
And when we start cutting those cords of trying to control or fix or be a people pleaser, that person, if they have an addictive behavior, they're going to feel that addiction. You're just no longer contributing to it. Let's be real. They're going to find a way to get their fix. But you have to love yourself more to cut that cord and say, I can't do this anymore. And I'm using that in a sense of an addictive personality, but it's true in relationships. It's true in business. If somebody, I want as a teacher, as a coach, to empower somebody with taking the reins of their life and making their choices and making better choices and decisions using their past information as grounds of learning to make those different and new and better choices and decisions, right? And empower them with the information, the wisdom that they have. And I think people forget that. Look how much wisdom you have, because the person you were yesterday or 20 years ago is not the person you are today. And we have so much wisdom built up that we use that information to empower ourselves to move forward and be and do better in ourselves. If I am there as the teacher or the coach and I'm trying to fix things for you, I'm not empowering you.
No.
I'm saying I'll take care of it. I'll
Yeah.
take care of it. So now I'm being an enabler. That's not my goal. As a teacher and a coach, I'm like, here's the information, you have to implement it. If you desire a change, you cannot depend upon me to fix it. I can't fix it for you. I can give you the information where you can take it, implement it, and go and move in a different direction.
Yes.
But as long as I am the enabler or the fixer or the people pleaser, then it's easier for them to depend on me to take care of it than for them to take responsibility for their life.
True.
And it's their life. It's their journey, not mine.
Yeah.
I got my own shit to deal with.
Yeah. But regardless of whatever we can see, because we can all do this, but whatever we can see it, they're doing, you're doing incorrectly, not you, but that person, or maybe even yourself, you have to affect that change. And then I have to go back to also, you talked about being empathic and all this other stuff. We talked about addiction. You were talking about addiction and empowering. Amie does a class quite often on being an empath. And I would say, if you're suffering with an addiction and you're watching this, there's a reason. I feel like a lot of people suffer with addiction because they are empathic. And a lot of times the only way that we can shut off from feeling every freaking thing is by drugs or alcohol, or maybe sometimes it's the thrilling, the jumping off of buildings, all this other stuff. We think we're seeking that thrill, but really we're just trying to shut off a lot of these emotions, these feelings we're feeling, and learning how to recognize when it's not your feelings that you're feeling, which is hard. I mean, it felt hard to me. Let me just put it that way. It's not hard. When you're open and receptive to this information, you will gain so much more ground. It's not a matter of you being addicted to something. It's not a matter of something having power over you. It's a matter of you learning how to cope. And a lot of us haven't learned how to cope. And a lot of us are empathic. I am. And it's, man, quite honestly, it could fuck me up pretty bad sometimes. It really could. It was pretty harsh a lot of times for me, until I started recognizing that those weren't my energies. That wasn't my feeling. And it's like when you walk into a room and people are feeling that way, it feels like an attack on you. When you're empathic and you walk into your room and there's anger and sadness and grief and someone feels like someone did them wrong, whatever, you walk into that room, when you're empathic and it's not even directed at you, but it feels like it's coming right at you. It can feel harsh. And you want to be empowered and you want to make a change in your life and you want to make a difference, then start coming to these classes. Start listening to what we're offering up. We have good information. It's not stupid. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have said, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore. I think I'm stupid. I don't even know why I'm on this planet. I'm going to jump off. These are my feelings that I was going through at that time. I'm making light of it right now, but at that time it was very heavy and very rough. But it also recognizing where I'm empathic, so I'm picking up the I'm sorry's, I'm picking up everybody else's regrets or feelings or whatever. And it's been a learning process to be like, I just want to feel my energy right now. I just want to feel my energy. I don't have to go drink to stop all that stuff, to turn off that faucet. I don't have to go smoke pot or do anything, because before, when I would smoke, because I have smoked, I would think that that helped enlighten me and connected me more and everything else, and it wasn't. It it did help in some aspects as far as quieting my mind, but I am stronger than that marijuana. I can quiet my own mind. And I'm not saying that you don't that to do marijuana or don't smoke it or to do marijuana. I sound like an old person talking about marijuana. If you want to do the weed or don't do the weed, no, I don't care what your preferences are, but just pay attention to how you're really feeling.
Right.
Be honest with yourself. Like, feel these things, but I'm empowering myself by, I don't need that stuff. What I need is to go through this experience. I need to feel these things. Could you imagine if I shut myself off and didn't allow Jim's memories to hit me the way they're hitting me? Man, I'm missing out on joy. I'm missing out on so much more wonderful things in my life that can come to me from any direction. There's no limits. We put limits on things. We put shackles on ourselves. We hold ourselves down with fear and anger and grief and everything else. We do it to ourselves. And I'm speaking from my experience. I love your face.
I love your face. We come back to vulnerability. Vulnerability is also being in a room by yourself and feeling those emotions.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, as a recovering introvert, that wasn't an option either. Being in a room by myself to feel the emotions. Well, of course, I didn't have a healthy way to get through them either. But I will say that, you know, we talked about earlier being emotional in front of other people and talking about how you feel. Being in a room by yourself and feeling the emotions is just as important and just as vulnerable. It's like you have to do it, because otherwise you're going to just stuff those emotions down. You're going to suck it, right? Pull your big girl panties up, suck it up, push everything down. And then you're going to someday get this book and you're going to be like, oh shit, I got some emotional work to do because I pushed all that down and didn't deal with it when it was present to begin with. Mm-hmm. Please know, Bev and I, we did not have these tools when we were growing up to have a healthy way to deal with our emotions that were creating a shit show in our life.
Yes.
We pushed them down, pushed them down, pushed them down, pushed them down, pushed them down for years, like 30 years. And so us coming and talking to you and sharing our experiences, sharing our wisdom of our journey, and talking about things from our perspective, we are here to plant the seeds to help you get the tools, empower you with things that are available to you. $20, okay? $20.
Yeah. Worth it.
That takes the healing and your journey and your conscious choices, it puts it in your hands. Stop depending on everybody else to do it. And it's being in that vulnerable space and feel those feelings that are present.
Because it's all right. You're not doing anything wrong by feeling.
There's nothing wrong with you.
No. And that's what I've been being told for like the last 6 or 8 months. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. And it's like forever. I felt like there was something wrong with me. I wasn't right. Or I mean, yeah. It's crazy.
There was something wrong with me the moment I was conceived, because when I found out my mom was pregnant, my biological father hit the road. So I just came into this life with that story. I'm not good enough. Right away. I wasn't good enough. So, and it stemmed from that. Years, 50 years ago, 50 plus years ago, actually.
It's time for life.
People.
That's what I feel. It's time for life. It's time to feel. It's time. it's just crazy because if you would have talked to me probably even 10 years, 5 years ago, there's no way anything that you're getting from me right now, you would not have been getting from me.
Oh, I
Mostly just
know. We had those
anger and
conversations.
attitude. So it's like, it's a progression, and it really just boils down getting to know yourself, putting yourself first, and it's not in an egoic way at all. It's not like, well, I get to win, I'm first, or what. It's not anything like that. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It has to do with loving yourself enough to pay attention to the things that you like. If you can ask yourself, what are my passions, and you have no flipping clue, get to know yourself. Get
Oh,
to know
for
yourself.
sure.
What do I like to do in my free time? You don't know? Get to know yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know myself most of my life.
No, but that's why you could teach it so well, honestly. When you do those classes and stuff, and you'd have us do these little activities, it's like, shit, I don't, what do I like to do? I got one. I'm writing down number one, and there's nothing there, and I'm like looking around like, shit, what is everybody else writing down? I don't know what am I supposed to like? What
Yeah,
am I supposed to like? But that's how it felt like. What am I
right,
supposed to like?
right.
Because I had no idea, because you get into such a routine of everyone telling you what you need and what you want and everything else, or how your life is supposed to be, which is why we have a problem when we lose someone. Like let's say that when I lost my mom, that I was very dependent upon her, I would have totally lost myself. I would have completely lost myself, because I would have lost all that knowledge from that person, even though I have access to all that knowledge.
Yep.
It's I would have shut down. So I don't there's nothing wrong with the way I grieved those things before. It's just it was how it was, and this is where I'm at right now. This is where I'm at, where I can grieve this stuff, where I can honor them by growing. Honestly, I feel like I'm honoring them and all everybody below me, or after me, my kids, my grandbabies, their relationships with who they have with whoever they have them with. I feel like when I'm honoring myself and doing these things, I'm empowering my whole entire family from the past to through the future. And right
Absolutely.
now,
Yep. Because your healing affects generations. And, a lot of people, you think, what is your legacy? And most people immediately go to, to their success, their career, their financial stance, right? And it could be your legacy in this lifetime is learning to heal, because when you heal, you're healing many generations in the past, and you are contributing to planting those seeds for healing for those in your life now, which means that they're going to, at some point, hopefully sooner than later, listen and germinate those seeds. Now, those seeds, again, may come to fruition in this lifetime, or the next, or the next, or the next, but the seeds are planted. And when you plant those seeds, whether they implement what you have said to them, they will most likely, because I've had this happen many times, they will repeat what you said.
mhm.
And even by saying it, even though they need to hear it, they're saying it to somebody else and planting another seed. So it's just how we keep planting the seeds, and people are going to germinate the seeds at their own pace. But that's also contributing to your legacy, because you're affecting your kids, your grandkids, and then the great grandkids and the generations after that. So, who girl, great conversation.
It was good.
And
I
I
loved
want
it.
to express so much gratitude, and that you show up in your own vulnerability to share with us your process that you are going through with the transition of Jim, and sharing with real truth, right? Your truth.
It's my
and
truth.
and and our only hope is that somebody's going to listen to this, whether it's tomorrow when it's published, or 5 years from now, whatever it might be, that you get something from this, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of information in a 1 hour video that we do. Um, And so you could listen to the same video many times and get so much value. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for being with us in with Tea Time with Amie and Bev, and wish you a Merry Christmas, wishing you miracles, wishing you amazing gifts and gifts. I'm talking above and beyond the material things. So um, uh, that's that. What do you got?
I love you all. I especially love you, and I
Oh,
appreciate
thank
you.
you.
You have been so amazing for me, and I mean, really helping me to grow and helping me to see things not in a forceful manner, but handing over the tools, passing the baton, so to speak, and in so many ways. And it's been an honor. It has, and I am very joyful that you've been in my life. And I hope that we will. It's not even a hope. I know that we'll always be in each other's lives. And our energy is mixed. We're all one. So it's like I just feel lucky that I get to have you in my lifetime. I really
Awesome.
do.
We came together for a reason. So
Yes, we did.
let's just rock it the best we can.
That's right. It's a party.
And now
This
we have
lifetime
Jim
is a
on our
party.
team. Jim's in our
That's right.
team,
That's
guiding
right.
you, helping us. I'm going to own some of that
That's right. But he is, though. He is. It's a wonderful journey.
because when it helps you, it helps me. So
That's right.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, my friends, have a wonderful day and Merry Christmas. And of
Merry
course, we'll
Christmas.
be back next week and then we'll wish you a Happy New Year. Okay.
That's right. I love you.
Bye.
Bye.